Hello and welcome to Android Weekly, our weekly news session on what's going on in the tech world. First off, let's of course talk quickly about the iPad mini. Now we do have other special reports that you can click on to see a full report of the iPad mini, and also another report of this guy named the Android Guy's take on it and what he thinks about it. Although I don't know about this guy's opinion sometimes, but you know. The gist of it is that the iPad mini was announced, and it is going to be at $329 for the 16 gig model. And the highlights of it is it's thin and light. The downside is the resolution's pretty bad, and I mean pretty bad. It's actually lower than the majority of 7-inch tablets on the market, and it's a 7.9-inch, making it practically an 8-inch tablet. So resolution's not so good. Their whole pixel density is even worse. So it's just not going to be the best in terms of clarity for a screen. But again, to find out more about it, check out those. The first article we're going over today is the HTC Butterfly. It's a pretty butterfly. Basically, this is what they're calling their 5-inch phablet. So again, this is going to be a phablet. Supposedly both HTC and Sony are coming out with the phablet. Last week we talked about the Odin phablet that Sony's coming out with, and this one is HTC's. Now supposedly this is still going on that it's going to be 1080p. Now this would be the first 1080p phone out on the market in the US side and coast side. I do believe Japan has had one already, but it would be the first one on this side, which is really interesting because again, HTC is not known for their screen quality. They're known for their thinness, they're known for sense, they're not known for their screen quality. So this will be interesting that if it does become that. The other things that have been commented on it is that it will be a S4 quad core, which is pretty interesting, 2 gigs of RAM, and so this is what we're seeing. Now this was actually on the Japanese website from HTC, so it should be pretty concrete, but will we see it stateside, will we see it in other countries, that remains to be seen. So that was that one. If you saw last week's Android Weekly, you know that Sprint was bought out by a Japanese company called SoftBank. They now own 70% of the company, and they gave Sprint, I believe, about $4 million to play with. One of the first things they did was they bought out the Clear majority share again. Clearwire is another technology company that invest in towers as well as different types of signals, and they bought it, so they now own 50.8%. They couldn't even spring for the 51%. Really, Sprint? I mean, you just really barely wanted it. They just didn't want to spend as much money because they're really going to focus most of the money on getting LTE towers up. Clearwire was supposed to invest their money into LTE towers before they started having money troubles. So with this purchase, they should actually have some money as well to both companies move towards building LTEs. Another launch that happened this past week was Google's new Chromebook, and this Chromebook is pretty impressive for 2 reasons. One, it's made by Samsung, very ultra thin, over a 6-hour battery life. Can play by 1080p video just fine. And the second thing, of course, is it's $249. So very impressive price point that a lot of people have liked. Because you really have to think about this. This is an 11.8-inch computer, essentially, as comparing it to a tablet that might be around $299, $349. Tablets are going to be around this price, but this has a keyboard. So you really kind of have to think, well, what do you really want more? And that's what it's going to come down to. And that's why I think this has a really good chance at working at 2.9. The other thing is it has an ARM processor, like ARM is the main processor used by tablets and phones. But this one is built on the new A15 processor, which the A15 is a lot faster than every phone and every tablet we have on the market right now. So it's curious to see that Samsung has already developed this processing chip out, and it's on a device already, and it's only a matter of time how quickly they'll get it to tablets. So really interesting and kind of exciting to see what's going to come up with soon. The other thing is, although this version is $249 and will be available directly through Google as well as at Best Buy stores, the other thing is that they're going to have a $329 model that has 3G built into it. Well, it's 3G/4G. If you consider HSPA Plus, which is available for AT&T and T-Mobile, 4G, then it's considered 4G. You can call it 3.5. That's what most tech people have grown to call it. But so it's really cool that you can actually get a device that inexpensive to actually have that capability. Now, Chromebooks, a lot of people have had a misconception on it that you can only use it when it's online. It actually has a lot of offline abilities now. We probably will be getting it for the Ask the Android Guy channel 1.0. So make sure to look out for that and see how it develops. Now, the other thing that just recently came out is an Android smartphone with an e-ink screen. Now, this is a pretty cool concept because e-ink screens are normally only on e-readers. One benefit they have, though, as opposed to an LCD, is that they make the battery life last really long. A Chinese company has done this. It's called Onyx. And this company, basically what they did was they made an Android smartphone. It's just with an e-ink screen. And the main benefit of that they saw this, of course, is the battery life lasts for a week. Not only that, but they compared it with a Samsung Super AMOLED screen outside. And while the Samsung you couldn't really see as well, especially when a camcorder is facing it, the e-ink screen you could see very easily. So it's just really interesting to see how this can develop. And would you trade your LCD experience, meaning movies and things like that, for a better web browsing, book reading experience, RSS feed experience, text messaging experience, and much longer battery life? Which one is more valuable to you, and which one would you go for? Alright, on the court circuit, there's been a lot of things that have been going on in court. So let's start through it. By the way, almost none have been good for Apple, actually. So let's start with the first one, the court case that Apple previously won. The judge is now demanding to see how profitable the iPhone is. Because although the previous verdict was for $1.05 billion to reward for Apple, the judge actually doesn't believe that, that it's worth it. So she demands that Apple release their profitability for the iPhone to better insist on if they deserve this amount of money, which is already kind of thrown Apple back because this is something that Apple doesn't do. They never reveal how profitable one product is. It's a part of their whole scheme. So like today, for instance, on their announcement, they were saying, oh yes, everyone's loved our MacBook Pro Retina display. They won't say how many have sold. They also won't say how profitable it is because of the fact that no one has really bought it. So because their sales are lackluster, they won't reveal it, and they don't like revealing things like this. So it'll be pretty interesting to see Apple actually made to reveal these kind of products if they want the $1.05 billion. Now, the other problem that Apple just had with this court case is that as of today, actually, Apple's bounce scroll patent has now become invalid in the US. Now, for those of you who don't know what that is, basically if you scroll up all the way to the top or scroll all the way up to the bottom on iOS device and also on devices like the Galaxy S3, Galaxy S2, on all the phones that were under the Apple court case, that they have the same bounce scroll. That patent is now considered invalid in the US. Now the reason why that's so big is that most people get confused that actually what Apple won in the court case was not likeness, was not anything like that, it was actually patents. They won 2 patents and one of them was the bounce scroll patent. Since now that is now considered invalid in the US, Apple cannot get any money for that patent. So you're seeing the price that they have to pay now go down 50% almost. Say even if it goes down 30 or 40, that's still a huge chunk from their verdict. And it's kind of only a matter of time if they even get anything from this at all, or if they have to end up paying Samsung for all of their damages. Speaking of paying Samsung for all their damages, that's exactly what Apple's doing in the UK. On tonight's last article, Apple lost the UK appeal motion, forcing them to run ads on their website as well as other places that Samsung did not copy its iPad design. Now, this is rather humorous and rather humiliating at the same time. For Apple to have to advertise that Samsung did not steal their iPad design is really, really funny. I think it's actually really, I think the whole process behind it is to make them be humble. I think you have much better luck doing that to any person or any other company in the world, quite frankly, because I don't think Apple will be humble. But it definitely is interesting to see it, and it's rather humorous. I know a lot of people that have thought that was a hilarious concept, and I think it's really funny as well that they will have to do this. I personally want to make this my screenshot. I mean, for my tablet or my phone, because it seems kind of cool. But yeah, guys, which article did you find the most fascinating this week? And what articles have you read that you thought were pretty cool and aren't sure are rumors or are fact? Every single one we had today I don't believe was in the rumor mill. It was actually all pretty much fact or standard. So let me know your guys' thoughts and what you guys thought. Alright, this has been RICKY, the Android Guy.